Oh, it's a pleasure to follow that short but extremely powerful contribution informed by so much professional experience, and I very much would like to acknowledge that, and I think the whole House would like me to acknowledge that. The amendment that appears in my name in this group is Amendment 63, which is about the powers of tribunals to determine challenges against treatment decisions. And in many ways the argument for this follows on from what was just said by the Noble Lady Barras-Watkins. Things go wrong. However much we are trying to improve the treatment of people with serious mental illness through this bill, I'm afraid we all acknowledge that things are going to continue to go wrong. And what this amendment seeks to do, and again, I'm bringing this forward at the request of Mind who feel like there should be something like this does not create any sort of automatic right. What it does, it says the Secretary of State may, by regulations, make provision about appeals. So it's setting up the framework to make this possible. We had extensive discussion of this at committee. I'm not going to rehash all of that again. But I think what we're trying to do here is create mechanisms of common justice, create ways forward, create possibilities. We're all acknowledging that so much of what's in this bill is not going to be delivered in a month or a year or even 2 years, but it's trying to create the frame to make that possible. So I think that's a very strong argument for that. The Noble Lady Baroness Watkins has powerfully made the case for Amendment 14, to which I attach my name, just because I thought it was so important it should have a full slate on there. But I do briefly want to address Amendment 13 in the name of the Noble Lord Howell and Lord Kamar, to which I also attach my name. Because it was actually right through committee stage, it kept occurring to me, and I never found the place to reflect it. When you search the bill, the word trauma does not appear once currently on the face of the bill. And I was really surprised about that when I was thinking about debates that I've had, and I think several times, and I think I go back to the Domestic Abuse Bill, now Act, and indeed the Schools Bill that never actually became an Act under the previous government. But nonetheless, there was a lot of discussion about the need for trauma-informed environments, trauma-informed care. And yet there is actually, I think there's a general sense of intention from your Lordship's House that this is one of the things that we're thinking about, but there's actually nothing written there on the face of the bill. And so what this amendment writes onto that bill is seeking to minimise the patient's distress and recovery from any childhood trauma. Now, I think perhaps that's possibly a bit narrow, and I hope that this is something that the Noble Lady and Minister might take away and think about afterwards, the fact that there is really nothing there on the bill that talks about so many of the patients we are talking about will be people who've been through hideous traumas, childhood abuse, domestic abuse, people who've been in war situations, people who've been tortured, all kinds of circumstances. And to actually put on the face of the bill, I think perhaps even more broadly than this amendment, but it's a chance to just raise this issue of let's make sure that we put an awareness of the need to think about trauma. I think we're all thinking this, but let's make sure it's actually written down there in the law.